How do you respond as a business owner when someone tells you you're selling too much? Hi, welcome to another important conversation here on Business Mindset Mastery. My name's Heather Gray. I'm a mindset and performance coach for business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs. You can always find me over at choosetohaveitall.com. And today we're tackling a really important conversation. It also can be a really hard conversation to have. Before I go any further, I want to be transparent that I received a listener letter giving me feedback that I've been selling too much on this show. Before I go further in my response, I don't want this episode to become one of those rant episodes or a mic drop episode or cause any undue drama. Before I read her letter, I want to make it abundantly clear that I've reached out to her. I've gotten her permission to offer my response on the show as a way of teaching people how to have this conversation. So I'm not calling her out. I'm not looking to get some kind of following going after her and telling her where to go or any of that. This is a conversation that needs to happen for business owners. So many people who own businesses, especially in the online world, especially the solopreneurs and the consultants and the coaches, are afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid to ask for the sale, and they're afraid to make the sale because they're too afraid of being perceived as salesy or sleazy or chasing tails. This is a myth we need to bust in business. And I want to use this show and this conversation as a way to show you how. So I've gotten the listener's permission in my answer. She doesn't know what I'm going to say. I was transparent about that if I was going to respond to this, I wanted it to be a way to teach other people how to have the conversation. So she doesn't know the content I'm about to tell you. And I'm keeping her identity, and I've removed some details out of her letter to protect her and to keep her anonymous, as I do with all letters. But this is a conversation we're going to have today. So let's dive in. Heather, I wanted to reach out to you because I had such a strong reaction to today's show that I just had to tell you. I was really taken aback, surprised, and disappointed that you became another podcast host tossing out an affiliate link at the end of an episode. Honestly, I didn't think that was your style. I thought you above that, really. I know you record every day, so you may be losing focus here, but you are selling to us loyal listeners a lot lately, and it's rather off-putting. You know who you are. We know who you are. We know what you do. You tell us at the start of every show and direct your listeners to say so for themselves quite often. We get it. I'm not sure why you always have to encourage people to work with you. You show people all the time how you work. If they like what you have to say and need your help, they'll reach out. You show up 5 times a week. There's no way they don't know you're here and available. I'm a loyal listener. You know this. I've helped you out and sent 2 questions your way so you could have content for your show. You know I like your stuff, Heather, but I think you're losing your way. I've listened to many of your episodes. Some I have listened to twice, but I find myself not wanting to press play on Monday. You're starting to sound like everyone else. I know your listeners are important to you. I can tell in your communication with me thus far and how you respond to communication and follow up. I thought you might want to know that you're risking a loyal follower. I can go to any show to be sold to. I come to yours for the real talk you offer, and I see you losing your way with that. I hope this helps and gives you some perspective. Okay, so this may be the last episode of mine you listen to, and I am totally okay with that. I accept the natural consequence as a business owner of putting myself out there, offering a sale, recognizing that that's not everyone's bag of tea, and that you might choose to move on after this episode. I'm good with that. But I am also going to tell you that you, my friend, do not get it. First of all, you haven't sent me 2 questions so I could have content for my show. You sent me 2 questions because you needed help on your business and you needed perspective, and you asked for my 2 cents, and I gave it to you free of charge in exchange for being able to use your questions on my podcast. The fact that you helped me, I think you need to rework that a little bit. And I think you need to relook at the lens that you're looking at that with, because I helped you. I served you. And that's what I continue to do for everyone who listens to this show. That I'm teaching and striving to model for people how to run and own businesses with integrity, how to believe in themselves, how to put themselves out there, and how to be unapologetically unafraid at the end of showing up for people to ask them to invest in you. That's what I want my listeners to learn. That's what I want them to see. I also want them to see that there's more than one way to skin a cat. That affiliate link at the end of an episode last week, that was another way that I can make income for my business without asking my followers to have a major investment in me. Some people can't afford to work with me. Some people can't make the investment in mindset work. I offered a book and an audio version of that book that could help people with that for free or for $15 if they buy the paperback. The idea that I might make a few cents off of that offends you. I think you need to get thicker skin, my friend. Because if this is how easily you are offended, you are never going to make it as a business owner, but you are going to be hard pressed to make it in this world. There is a way to change the channel. There is a way to turn direction. And there is a way to shift your focus to people that you do buy into, to people that you do want to follow and learn from. And I am totally okay if I'm no longer your girl for that, because you have been crystal clear with me that you don't want to buy from me. You just want my free help and you want to listen to my show multiple times and then be offended by the idea that after showing up, after offering content, you don't want to buy from me and you're offended by the idea that I might want other people to. You, my friend, have shown me who you are. And I believe you. And I'm okay with that. I understand that for a variety of reasons, clients and consumers are going to be off-put, offended, discouraged by people and their sales processes. There are certainly sales processes that I don't sort of take to, that I find offensive. I don't like when people use their personal Facebook page to sell to me. I find that a little off-putting. But do I need to go on a rant about it? Do I need to call that person out and say I'm offended by the way you run the business? No, I just use the little arrow in the corner of the post and say unfollow or unfriend if I'm that offended. The idea that you think you can get feedback, direction, and guidance for free is sort of a product that a lot of business owners are sitting with right now. This is the natural consequence a lot of business owners are facing because thought leaders and industry leaders, especially in the online business space, taught us to give away our best stuff for free to build that know, like, and trust factor, and then people will buy from you. That's why you think I should do it. That's why you think if I show up 5 days a week and I keep helping people and I keep giving people hours of my time, if you add up, I'm at like 181 minutes, 181 episodes of my show. Some episodes I've gone upwards of 60 minutes. I record 5 times a week. So the idea that with all of the minutes of airtime and guidance and help and assistance I've offered, I should be reimbursed for that. But no, people are not independently going to know that I'm a coach, that I'm a consultant, that I can help them with their businesses, because the online business space has trained consumers not to buy. Online business owners have to put themselves out there loudly, consistently, regularly, and with integrity in order to stand out in a really noisy and crowded space. Business owners cannot afford to believe the myth you're trying to sell me, that if you build it, they will come. I did that. I wrote like blog posts that had like 1 million page views on it. And I didn't get a single client from it. It is not true as business owners that if we build it, they will come. We as business owners need to be the bosses of our business. And being the bosses of our business means focusing and prioritizing our bottom line. It means that we have a responsibility to tell people who are encountering us, who are finding our content, who are engaging with what we have to teach, that there's a way that they can work with us. It is irresponsible as business owners to not do that. And if you don't think that's true, then I would like you to find 15 minutes of television that exists without a commercial. I would like you to go on YouTube and see how long you can watch it before an ad pops up. Go on any of these social media accounts. Look at every blog of every person you've ever followed and see how long you can go with anyone before an ad pops up. And why do ads pop up? Because it's a bunch of business owners accepting and recognizing the way the world works. That if you want to stand out in a crowd, if you want people to know how you're different, you have to tell them. It is non-negotiable as a business owner. But what happens when letters like yours come across the inboxes of less experienced business owners than myself? They start to think they've done something wrong. The point of view you're offering here does damage to what I'm trying to create for this show. An empowering environment for people to say yes to themselves. Because what ends up happening in their worried, anxious, darker times when I'm not in their earbuds is they hear me say, go ahead, go out there, ask for the sale. This is how, this is what you can do. Just put yourself out there. This is how to handle the haters. This is how to manage imposter syndrome. This is how to stay focused. This is how to stay in your own lane. This is how to ignore feedback. All of the lessons I have taught and spent hours on this mic teaching go away with a singular letter like yours. Because for some reason, for some people, the negative is easier to believe because it confirms their secret fear that they're not good enough. I don't think you tried to do that with me. I actually think you're very well-intentioned. I just think that you like consuming free content and you're never going to buy from me. That's okay. If you can swallow this episode and you can swallow the feedback I'm handing to you, I invite you to continue to listen to episodes. I'm going to let you know that I'm not going to answer another one of your questions on my show, though, because you've told me who you are. I'm good with that. We don't need to continue this exchange any further. You can continue to take on my free advice, but no, I'm not going to keep offering to help you. And I hope you get that, and I hope you understand, because no, I was helping you when I answered your questions. I was helping you when I followed up a week later to see how it went, or the next day on your second letter to say, hey, I don't think I clarified that as well as I could. Are we good? That was me offering value. That was me showing up. I never asked for a sale from you. I never followed that email up, that communication that you so wholeheartedly respect with an invite to work with me. I just gave you my best. If you're offended by the idea that in doing that, I invite other people to buy from me, that says way more about you than it does about me. And that's what I really need the business owners and the bosses who listen to this show to know and understand. Because letters like yours, read by inexperienced business owners, can sometimes do damage. We're not running these things as hobbies and passion projects. Some people who have podcasts absolutely are, and you're not getting an invite for a sale at the end. Maybe you're getting a request for a Patreon donation or something like that. But business owners, we have to be transparent, and let me be transparent with you now. My podcast is my number one lead generator for my business. People get to know, like, and trust me, understand understand how I work and move through the world and get to decide accordingly if my style will work for them, if they think that my help in their life and their business might be worth an investment. But they're not independently going to know that unless I ask them for the sale. So I'm going to continue to ask for the sale because I'm also going to continue to answer questions 5 times a week or as many times as they fill my inbox. And I'm going to show up with integrity. I'm going to show up as myself. The affiliate link that you mentioned, and you know what? I'm probably going to drop it in today's show notes as well, just because I can. Is for a book that has stopped me in my tracks. I am a mindset consultant. I have been in this business for 20 years. The only other book that people have heard me pimp out is anything written by Brene Brown. Daring Greatly is at the top of the list. So when me, a mindset coach, a personal development expert, puts out a book and says you should read this when I don't actually recommend many of them, it's okay if I get a couple of cents because it's not like I do it every day. I know that and own it. I'm not tossing out links for random, unrelated content. I'm tossing out links for people with relevant ideas and things that could benefit them. And I'm going to continue to do that. So for the business owners listening to this who are like, oh my God, if I got that letter, I would totally want to stop recording tomorrow, or I would have to take 5 days off before I made my next sales pitch on a podcast or in a blog post, on a social media post. It's really you I'm talking to, because I'm not going to change my letter writer's mind. She's already shown me who she is. She's not going to buy from me, but I need to reach you. I need to make damn sure you do not quake in your shoes at the thought of receiving these letters, because you're going to get them. First of all, asking for the sale. It is selling. It's like the most transparent, honest way of selling. It's the least manipulative way of selling. It's the most with integrity way you can put your business out there. And you should do that unapologetically. And owning a business means accepting that just like this letter writer, not everyone's going to get it. I get offended when commercials run twice in a row, back to back. I don't know if that's a networking or a programming mistake, or if it's just somebody who actually pays for 60 seconds of my time as opposed to 30 seconds of my time, just to make sure the message gets across. I don't like fear-mongering ads that make me feel as though the world is going to fall apart if I don't buy. We all get to decide as business owners how we're going to show up. It's non-negotiable that we sell. They're not going to know us otherwise. We cannot just simply on a wing and a prayer build it and hope they will come. I had a business that was earning me $0 when I did that. It does not work. But you get to show up. You get to decide and own what your perspective is, what your values are around selling, how you can sell in a way that feels comfortable, how you can, with integrity, if you feel the need to, respond to people when they question you. Because say, for example, I question the people who sell from their their personal Facebook page. I say, hey, I'm glad we're Facebook friends, but I didn't say yes to being your Facebook friend simply so you could put your stuff in front of me every 10 seconds because the algorithm is friendlier for the personal Facebook page. I don't need to have that conversation because I have better things to focus on. But if I did, that business owner absolutely gets to turn around and tell me the same damn thing. You know what, Heather? If you don't like it, you can unfriend me. You can unfollow me. We all get to choose our paths, but we have to own it. And if we choose the path of least resistance, if we choose the path of playing small, of hiding, of acting less than, of whimpering our invitation for a sale, of sort of saying, well, if you wouldn't mind, if you could have, by the way, if we play it that way, we get the results of that effort. But if we're crystal clear, unapologetic, and unafraid to show people all of who we are, not just the shiny free stuff, but the real stuff. Because we all know we can't change lives in a single public podcast episode. If I really want to transform someone's life, I have to get in the mud with them. We have to get a little bit dirty. We have to do the work to get them out of their tough spot. But it gives people a taste test, right? They like it, they like it, they invest, or they don't. But either way, I am showing people who I am so they can believe me. That is the challenge, not to be afraid of these letters, but to have a response, to recognize that people have opinions about absolutely everything. I can't tell you the number of letters I get where people were like, could you please stop? Could you please stop recording 5 days a week? I can't keep up. Well, if that's a real problem, you have a first world problem. Like, people are going to have all kinds of opinions about what you do and how you do it. Where you give your energy, where you give your oxygen is entirely up to you. It is not about framing things in such a way that people don't question you. It's not about coming up with the pitch perfect sales pitch so it doesn't feel like selling and it doesn't feel intrusive and people aren't put off by it. It's about recognizing that the people who aren't for you aren't going to be for you. And that has to be okay. First of all, you can't serve everybody. Second of all, you probably don't want to serve everybody. And it's your business, your terms, your way. And if you keep putting all this energy to avoid offending, to avoid disrupting, to avoid people being unhappy with you, well, then you're not going to have much of a business. And it's funny, I got this letter and I almost skipped it because honestly, I usually do, except I could feel in my bones that this was a lesson that people needed to hear. And I know enough about the writer to say, like, she's probably going to let me read this thing. So I just went for it. You get to decide how you're going to deal with the criticisms. I don't think our letter writer here is a hater or a troll. I just think she's a little misguided and probably poorly informed. But I don't think she has bad intention. I do genuinely think she likes and respects me. Whether or not she still does is probably remains to be seen. But you get to decide how you respond. And if you can arm yourself with a plan for the criticism, if you can tune yourself into your business practices, your business values, I think you're going to find your way, because this letter, is actually, in all transparency, a sign of progress for me. Like, the idea that somebody's actually telling me I could potentially be selling too much is really good for my own personal development and my own growth as a boss, because I absolutely was a victim of the training and of the messaging to just exposure. Put yourself out there, give them your best stuff, and they'll buy from you. And I have to tell you, I get I don't even know what my listens are right now, but I get a couple thousand of you listening to me every single week. The numbers aren't high. They're not they're not breaking any charts anywhere. But if I'm putting myself out there and telling a couple of thousand people every week how they can, find me, how they can work with me, how I can help, and how I want to help, I am in a really good spot as a business owner, because that is a new first world problem for me. So thank you, letter writer, for showing me how far I've come, how much I'm willing to own unapologetically who I am, what I do, and how I serve. I'm glad you know that. I'm glad you feel reminded of that in every podcast episode. But I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm talking to everybody else. If you're stuck, if you're not moving on your business, if you are not where you want to be, if you're listening to me talk and you're saying to yourself, holy hell, how does she do that? I could never do that. Give me a call, send me an email, and find out. I'm going to direct you to work with me, because that seems to be the most fitting way I could possibly end this episode. Head over to choosetohaveitall.com/work with me. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. I also, too, if you're getting value from this show, but like I said on the end of Friday's show, you can't afford investment in mindset coaching. You can't afford to put extra cash towards your personal development right now. In all honesty, this book that I put out there on Friday that caused all this hoopla, I gotta tell you, it is entrepreneurial gold. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well, because a good way to thank me for helping you out, a good way to, an easy, and quite frankly, if you've never used Audible before, it's a free way to put a few cents in my account, because you get your first audio book from Audible for free. And then there's no requirement to continue past the first book. But if you want to, it's a really great service. I'm totally one of those people who signed up for the first free book and then abandoned ship and was like, wow, this is too good. I got to keep going. So I'm not a good example of that. But the book I'm talking about that caused all of this is I Can't Make This Up by Kevin Hart. I absolutely, positively recommend the audio version of this book. It is so good. I picked it up actually because I needed distraction from the business world and the personal development space. I thought I was just going to laugh a little bit, but this guy knows about heart. He knows about hustle, and he really has stopped me in my tracks. I'm so glad I found this book, and I will continue to shout it from the rooftops. I promise you probably won't hear it in tomorrow's episode. There is such a thing as overkill. And again, I get to choose my business, my way, my style, and I don't need to toss this out and let everybody know every single damn day about this book. But if you can't afford to do one-on-one work and you need some inspiration in your pocket in addition to this episode and this podcast that you get, you got to check out this guy's book. It is just so good. I've been scribbling quotes from it. I've been making notes all over on paper and looking it up, and because I have the audio version, it's harder to get the lines back. I have to keep stopping and replaying. But it's changing the way I look at the dream and at the hustle and at going for the brass ring, the thing I talk about all the time on this show. I'm so excited by it. I'm so lit up by it. And I have no problem telling people that. You have to find, as a business owner, the thing that lights you up, that you are so passionate about, that you are so excited about, you want to shout from the rooftops, that you want people to know, because that's how they're going to find you. That's how they're going to get to know you. And this may not be everybody's bag, and that's fine. But to be afraid that people might not like you because of the thing you really care about, all that highlights, again, I know I'm a broken record and I just should stop talking at this point, but it's just so important to me that people get it, that you run your businesses on your terms, you do it your way, and you show the F up for yourself and for your business. The only way you can do that is ask for the sale. So stop fearing letters like these. They have nothing on you. The power rests in you, lies in you, and all the rest. I'll give you all the links to everything I just talked about and rambled about in the show notes so you can easily find them. Thanks so much for joining this conversation with me, having the hard conversations, and to this letter writer, I hope we, sort of separate in peace here. I hope you can understand a little bit more where I'm coming from. I certainly work to hopefully understand your perspective, and you feel that as well. Thanks so much for joining me today. You want my 2 cents on your problem, just like this letter writer? Find me over at heather@choosetohaveitall.com. Thanks so much for today. I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.